You're sure you recognize him. The face, the posture, the way he stands. You don't hesitate. You don't doubt yourself. Because recognition feels instant, automatic, certain. But tonight, you'll hear 3 stories where that certainty destroyed lives. 3 identifications that felt undeniable, but only one of them was actually real. Welcome to Trublur. Every episode you hear 3 unbelievable stories. 2 of them are fiction, 1 of them is real. Listen carefully, pay attention to the details, because by the end of this video, you won't just question these confessions. You'll start questioning what your own mind would accept under pressure. Recognition feels automatic. That's why it's so dangerous. Because once your brain chooses a face, it stops asking questions. The first story begins with that moment. Story 1. The man she swore she recognized. A woman witnesses a violent crime. It happens quickly, late at night, under poor lighting. She gives a description. Days later, she is shown a photo lineup. She stops immediately. That's him. She's calm, confident. She explains why she knows. The eyes, the jawline, the feeling she had in her chest. Investigators are relieved. The case finally has direction. Months later, new evidence surfaces. Security footage from another location. The man she identified was not even in the city when the crime occurred. She watches the footage herself. She feels confused, embarrassed. But something is worse. Even while watching proof, part of her still feels she recognized the right person. Her mind refuses to let go of the face it chose. What makes this unsettling isn't that she was wrong. It's that even after seeing proof, part of her still felt right. And that feeling doesn't disappear just because the evidence does. The second story shows how fast that feeling can appear. Story 2. The face in the crowd. A man is walking through a crowded public space. Suddenly, he freezes. He sees someone, not clearly, not for long, but enough. A face he's been shown before. A suspect, a wanted individual. His heart rate spikes. He follows the person briefly, then alerts authorities. Later, he is interviewed. He explains how sure he felt. There was no doubt. But the investigation continues. Phone records are checked, travel data, border logs. The person he identified was in another country at the exact same time. The man struggles to explain it. He didn't imagine the face. He remembers the moment vividly. The recognition felt instant, but it was wrong. Both of these mistakes happened alone. One person, one moment, one face. But what happens when many people make the same mistake, independently? The third story answers that question. Story 3. The man everyone recognized. This case involves multiple witnesses, different people, different backgrounds. They all see the same man, at different times, in different places. Each one identifies him independently. Each one is confident. There are lineups, courtroom testimony, pointing fingers. The man maintains his innocence, but recognition carries weight. He is convicted. Years pass, then science intervenes. DNA testing proves the witnesses were wrong, every single one of them. The man is released, but the damage is permanent. Because the witnesses weren't lying, they truly believed they recognized him. So which identification was real? The confident eyewitness, the face in the crowd, or the man everyone agreed on? Only one of these cases actually happened, and it exposes how unreliable recognition really is. The third story is real. The man was Ronald Cotton. He was identified by a woman who survived a violent crime. She didn't hesitate. She picked him from a photo lineup. She pointed at him in court. She said she was certain, and the jury believed her. Because she wasn't guessing, she was confident. Ronald Cotton was convicted. He spent over a decade in prison, not because of bad intentions, not because of lies, but because recognition felt real. Years later, DNA testing proved he was innocent. The real attacker was someone else. The woman who identified him was devastated. She hadn't tried to harm him. Her memory had done it for her. The disturbing part isn't that the witnesses were wrong. It's that their confidence followed the same psychological rules as everyone else's, including yours. And here's the detail that no fictional story could fake. When DNA cleared Ronald Cotton, the woman still felt doubt, not about his innocence, about her own memory. She said something terrifyingly honest. She said she still felt she recognized him, even after science proved she was wrong. That's not a plot twist, that's psychology. The brain doesn't store faces like photographs, it stores them like impressions. Stress sharpens emotion, not accuracy. Once a face is chosen, every recall strengthens it. Confidence grows, details fill in, and certainty increases without adding truth. That's why eyewitness testimony is one of the least reliable forms of evidence. Not because people lie, but because memory feels finished long before it's correct. If multiple people can recognize the same innocent man with absolute certainty, the question isn't, could this happen again? The question is, how often it already has. If this made you uncomfortable, that's the point. Because certainty is one of the easiest things for the mind to fake. Every week, we examine stories like this. 3 cases, 2 that never happened, 1 that did. Not to shock you, but to remind you how thin the line really is between memory and reality. If this made you question what you're certain about, subscribe to Trublur. 3 stories, 1 truth.